All right, so here we go again. You will have to excuse the lighting. It's strange today, but anyway, we'll get right into it. So we're going to talk about how dating has so many avenues for absolutely why it is skewed to the degree it is. Because I didn't really see anybody talking about this, so I did want to say something about it, just to get it out there, so that people can be like, "Hey, wait a damn minute." Um, so first and foremost, dating is in a really weird spot because everyone kind of wants to date exactly who they want to date and nobody else. So, for example, I feel like a lot of people have a one-itis and then they just kind of goes away and they just forget about dating for a really long time. Like for example, for me, I don't really get crushes anymore. I kind of just I'm a fucking working man, so I just go to work and I work until I come home, make my dinner, and I eat dinner and go to bed. It's really what my day looks like 90% of the time. So I don't have time for this. Oh, what's so and so think about me? What's this? I mean, I'll ask them eventually. I'll ask them within a relative manner, but like I'm not here losing sleep over it. You know what I'm saying? So there's that. People are the busiest they've ever been in their lives, especially young people. People from like the 20 to 28 bracket are like the busiest they've ever fucking been. Um, and so there's that. That's a big one. I feel like equally as big is the push for college. A lot of women want to go to college, and a lot of men aren't going to college. So, prime example, my best friend is a woman, and she is going to college next year. Like this will be the last year she's working at my job with me, and she only just started working with me because she moved stores. But anyway, this will be the last year she's working there, and she's gonna go to college. So even if this she was like a romantic prospect, there would be no reason to even start because she's gonna go to college next year in the city, and I'm not living in no fucking city. Um, there's that. A lot of men aren't going to college. So what happens is the women go to college and the men don't go to college. So the women kind of just have free reign to get whatever free dick they want at college. I'm not saying my friend is going to do that. I'm saying generally women kind of do that. Women will break up with their boyfriend just to go to sleep around at the college. Men do the same thing, but again, this is from me viewing the women's perspective, me from the male perspective viewing the actions of the women. Um, that's just a thing that happens. I mean, this is nothing new. This shit is old. Um, so you have that. You have the extreme political climate. The political climate is actually fucking insane. Because me personally, dude, I don't give a shit about politics, bro. Not anymore. I voted for who I voted for. You can probably fucking guess who I voted for. Excuse me. You can guess who I voted for. You'd probably be right. But anyway, besides the point. Um, there is very little. I feel like there is so little leeway in who you voted for. Like me personally, you can tell if you haven't been living under a rock, you can tell that men are getting, at least moderately conservative in general, and women are getting, I would say, extremely liberal. Now I can't speak on perspective because again, my two best friends are women, but um, how do I say this? My two best friends are women, but I can't really speak on them specifically. And I'm not speaking for them, but I'm speaking on the general populace of women that I've seen. Women are getting way more liberal than they've ever been, and that does not service a good dating market because me personally, like I said, I'm not on dating apps. I don't want to be on dating apps. I don't want to go and do that shit at all. If I'm going to meet somebody, I'm going to meet them organically and not force it to happen. Um, there's this tension. There's this tension. It's like, oh fuck, I know who he voted for. Oh shit, I know who she voted for. And it's like, does this really matter that much? Like really, does this even really matter? Like it's such a divisive thing to be like, oh, well, I voted. I don't give a fuck who you voted for, bro. I really don't. Really could care less because half the time, guess what? Excuse me. Skip past that if you want. Um, because again, I don't edit my shit. But for who you voted for, most often the person you voted for means basically nothing because they're gonna do their own shit that you didn't have any leeway in saying what they were gonna do, and they're gonna do it fucking anyway. So, like I said, for example, if someone voted for Donald Trump, do you fucking honestly believe that they knew that the tariffs were gonna fuck up the U.S. economy so bad? I nobody fucking knew that, dude. And if anybody knew that, they weren't fucking talking about it. You know what I'm saying? So, sorry, this is the first time I talked today. So again, we got more yawning happening. Um, the political thing is really stupid. I won't lie to you. Um, because like I said, I'm not really a political person. I believe in Christ and what Christ has told us to do. Sometimes that aligns with politics, and sometimes it doesn't. So, for prime example, like I said, I wouldn't say argue with my father, but I do talk to him about this stuff because I am more inclined to read the Bible than he is, and so I do educate him on some things. And I say, dude, if we lived in a biblical society, crime there would be zero fucking crime, dude. And if there, well, there'd be a lot less. If you understand when I say zero, it's metaphorical. There'd be much less crime because in the Bible, golly, in the Bible, most crimes were severely punished. Just if the community at large agreed to punish you, you were punished. That's how it worked. So like I said to him, I said at work one time, I said, if we if cheating on your spouse was illegal, there'd be a lot less of it at the very minimum. And I said, because if you go back to the Bible, if a man cheated on his spouse with another woman, the society, this town, the city, whatever, would stone the fucking the adulterers, bro. So the man, the cheating man, and the woman that he cheated with, they would stone them. And if the if the woman cheated, the same rules apply. If the woman cheated on another man, the woman who is married to another man cheats with a man, they are both stoned. You don't escape that shit, big dog. So like I said, if you, I don't really think that's a political statement, but I really think if you cheat, that should be at the very minimum illegal. You should face jail time or public humiliation for cheating on your spouse. Like you should be taken to court, and there should be a page somewhere online or in the local bulletin board or in the newspaper, like local man is an infidel, or local man is a heretic or whatever. You would say you something like that to shame him. Like how if a person steals from a store, you should have a pin board of people on there who were not allowed in the store, and it's like the wall of shame. We should do that shit. But anyway, that was a kind of a tangent. That was kind of a mega tangent. Um, there's so much um, tension in the dating market as well because everybody I found out through talking to my two best friends, which I said it's good to have friends who are women because you can get the perspective of their dating life and their life as a whole, and you can compare that to your own life and what's happening because she how do I like I said, you don't know her name, you know nothing about her other than my best friend is a female or is a woman, whatever. And because I know some people I consider female offensive, honestly, but whatever, you know what I meant. Um, it's like if you called me a male, like okay, sorry. Anyway, um, she has her own trauma in dating. I have my own trauma in dating. Basically, every person above the age of like 19 pretty much has at like once you hit 19, you'll have some dating trauma, bro. Like it's just how it is. So you'll find that from both sides of the coin, there are shitty men and there are shitty women that are causing problems in the dating pool and are messing up people's perception of dating as a whole. Because, dude, like I said, like somebody said one time, he said, bro, how it happens is you meet your first girl as a man, you meet your first girl, you fall in love, she breaks your heart, you break up, or for whatever reason you have trust issues with her because she did this and you don't trust, you're having trust issues now, and you break up and then you start coping, so you'll start watching, pornography, or you start drinking alcohol, or you start smoking cigarettes, because this is in that like tweener zone where you're like 19, 20, before you're like a full-blown adult, and then they just kind of don't trust again for a long time, and it's hard getting back into that dating market because they've witnessed firsthand that, yo, this shit can get messy, bro. This can get messy, and a lot of people in Gen Z I found are not risk takers at all. They will not take risk if they don't have to. They just won't do it. So the whole idea is, you asking for a girl's number is a risk. You don't know the outcome of what she's going to say to you, if she actually wants to talk to you or not. So that in and of itself is a risk. Now, the only girls I've ever met where I was like, I actually like kind of want to, I'm considering dating her. Um, I figure out that she was like kind of my type or whatever after I'm not talking to her anymore. Because like I said, I work at a gas station, so I see people come in and out all the time. And sometimes you see them once and you'll never see them again. And sometimes you see them every day. It's always the ones you fucking see once and never again. And you're like, damn, that chick was beautiful. You know what I'm saying, dude? Like it's always those ones. It's always the times where you'll know you'll never see her again. Now sometimes you gotta put that in your like frontal cortex. You gotta be like, shit, if I don't say something now, I'm never gonna see her again, and I have to say something to her. I might as well, because I'll be thinking about it after she's gone, and I'm not gonna see her again. You know what I'm saying? So like, this chick was beautiful though, dude. I mean, I should have asked for her number or something. I should have been like, so are you like you like single or something? Like, cause this chick was beautiful, man. I'm talking. She was 6 foot tall. You know what I'm talking about. I like me them tall ladies. Um, Jokingly, but of course, I am interested in the. I like basically any chick, honestly, any woman. I don't really have like a. I don't have really a two, as long as she's like white, or like maybe Hispanic. Um, that's my type, really. I like white girls. Fuck it, I don't give a shit. Someone's gonna be like, "That's racist." I don't give a fuck. It's not, but I like white girls anyway. Um, she was really tall. She was, because I'm 5'10", and I was like, she looked. I think she was maybe like 5'10", 5'11", because once you're tall enough as a person, you'll lie about your height. I don't lie about my height because I don't fucking care. I always tell people I'm 5'10", exactly. Um, she was probably 5'10" also, but just did some heels or something, because she didn't look that much taller than me. But well, that's not the point. Anyway, she was about my height or a little bit taller, and she was a ginger, and I was like, oh my lord above. I should have been like, yo, God, this is a sign. He's sending me a message. I should have fucking realized it. Because I've always been into ginger women. I've always been into girls with the red hair since I was like, because my first girlfriend was ginger, and I was like, damn, this is kind of something here, man. Anyway, that's another thing of why dating is kind of like out the window, because people are so fucking busy, they don't really have time to like actually analyze their options or potential options. Like, I didn't even consider her as like, I was like, oh, I could actually like talk to her. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't even think of that. And a lot of dudes, excuse me, good lord, I'm so sorry for the yawns today. A lot of dudes are kind of the same way, where they're just kind of like about their business until they like get home and they're like, oh shit, damn, I could have asked for her number or something, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of dudes do that. You'd be surprised if you're not a man, if you're a lady and you're not familiar. That happens to guys a lot. I'll be honest. Um, Anyhow, that happened. Um, what's another reason there's this contingency in dating? People, I feel like Gen Z is less likely to date their coworker. Maybe they're either less likely, like significantly less likely, or slightly less likely than previous generations to date their coworker. Um, it depends on the person, realistically, because if both parties are kind of just like, yo, fuck this job, I don't care, they'll just do it if they want to. Um, which is what happened to me. I was dating me. I met my first girlfriend. My second, I met actually both of my girlfriends at a job. I was working at a different job. I was working at Taco Bell when I was a teenager, and that's where I met my first girlfriend. And now I work at the gas station, and that's where I met my last girlfriend. And if you, how do I explain this? If you know you're gonna be at that job for a while, you probably shouldn't date your coworkers. You probably shouldn't date your coworkers. Now, my mom and dad dated. They met at a job. Okay. And I always kind of told him, I was like, I don't really mess with this. And he was like, but that's for How I Met Your Mother and XYZ. And I was like, yeah, that doesn't really work most of the time because most people know they're not going to stay, excuse me, at this one job for very long. They know they're not going to. And they know they're not going to. So they just kind of do whatever. They don't really care. They're just like, ah, I'm just gonna date this chick or whatever. You know what I mean? So like, oh, excuse me. So if that's how it turns out, it's kind of just like a waste because if you know you're not going to stay with them, why are you even fucking dating them? But I feel like a lot of people know they're not going to stay with their partner or long term, but they'll go and date them anyway. And it's like this, that doesn't sit right with me personally. You do what you fucking want. I don't care, but that never sat right with me. Um, there's what else is there? Hmm. Hmm. Um, a lot of people's, how do you say this? Women are more career oriented than they've ever been, which I feel is a trap. This is a trap for women. You can do what you want, like I said. It's your life, not mine. Um, I feel like women being career oriented now is also what is leading to the declining relationship stats and the declining birth rates. Women are like, I want a career, right? Most men fucking don't even want a career. Let's keep it a stack, bro. Most men don't even want a career. They really don't. If you think I'm lying, whatever. I'll be totally honest with you. There is basically no fucking job in existence that I want to have. There's basically none. There's basically none. Like the only jobs I ever fucking wanted growing up, I wanted to do the fun shit. I wanted to be like a guitar player or like a personal trainer or like some kind of fucking what do you how do you call it? There will, if you watch this, there will be a video on shoulder form workouts soon. I'm making that for a friend of mine, so you can see how to do those. Um, but yeah, I wanted to do that stuff, and now women are like, "Oh, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this," and it's like mostly shit. There's like no fucking job for, which like this is why I keep telling people college is a scam. So college is widening the gap in the age, not age, in the dating market. It's widening it even further because more women are going to college and less men are going to college. So like, look, if it was here, imagine because men and women are going to college, it's like here, it's like here, it's like pretty normal, right? And now that more women are going to college and less men are going to college, it's widening that. It's widening the frequency of relationships. So like, think about it this way. Um, hmm. A lot of these women are going for careers that don't pay anything and aren't aren't worth anything. And I say that because unless, in my opinion, if unless you're going to college to be a doctor, a medical doctor, like a surgeon, or a nurse or like a healthcare practitioner, somebody like that. Unless you're going to do that or be a lawyer, basically any fucking job that you're going, that any career you're fuck. How do I say this? Any major you're going for that isn't those, you're probably not going to make any fucking money. Let's just keep it a stack, bro. Because if you're somebody who's like, oh, I want to be an archaeologist, oh, I want to be a scientist, I want to be um, a teacher, I want to be a fucking psychologist, I want to be a graphics designer, I want to be an artist. Most of that shit makes no fucking money. I hate to tell you, bro, because I work. I'm gonna reset my video. I work at the gas station, like I told you, and I work with four college graduates. Four. And they're about 24, 25, and they can't get a fucking job that is um tied to their degree. They can't do it. And I heard that it used to be about 60%. So like this is why college is a complete fucking blowout, by the way. I'll be honest with you. This will probably be the last point I make, and this is why. Because if I did all this shit, and I'll be honest with you, if I did all of this and came out on the other side and I was still working at the gas station, I would be so tired and angry and bitter that I wouldn't want to be dating either. I'm not saying those people aren't that I know personally, but I'm saying that if that happened to me personally, I wouldn't want to be dating. So what happens is that you go to college for 4 years, which is double the time of a trade school. Which is if I do anything, it'll be trade school. At maximum, trade school is 2 fucking years. Um, and excuse me, I was about to drink some water, but I guess I don't fucking have any. Um, you go 4 years, you go even more than 4 years for some of these. You come out on the other side. 11 to 12% of Gen Z graduates will actually get a job that's tied to their degree. 11%. Do you fucking know how few that is? I talked about it in another video. I said that means if you have a class of 100 people, 11 of them are getting a job from their degree. If you have a class of 200, 22 people are getting a job from that is tied to their degree, because most of these places don't have job placement. Job placement doesn't even fucking entitle you to getting that job. Actually, if you get that job, you may not keep that job. You know what I'm saying? There's so many variables, and if I did all that shit and I was still working at the gas station, I'd be ready to fucking kill myself, dude. Like I'd be ready to just end this shit. I would be so done with like with life as a whole if I went into debt, spent 4 years of my life doing classes, probably had no romance that whole time, had probably minimal friends because all my friends I have I would have to abandon to go to college. You see what I'm saying? How this skews the whole fucking thing, this college thing. Um, and then a lot of women go, oh well, if I went to college, right? This is the entire greediness also from society. Because I know this is a video about dating, but it all ties together. And that women go, well, I need a man that makes more money than me. Well, what if you already make a lot of money as a woman? Can't you just be good with having that double income? Like, do you really need fucking more money? Like, dude, like, I'm totally fine with living a regular ass comfortable life, dude. I don't want fucking jet skis and a big ass fucking house, like a mansion, and I don't want 7 cars. Just give me a fucking normal sized house, 1 or 2 cars, a car for each of you, and a couple kids. That's great. That is great for the average dude. Most men, I feel like most men in this day and age, like after the whole Andrew Tate thing and that blew over, most guys don't care about being fucking rich anymore, bro. I mean, maybe I'm just speaking for myself and the people I know. I don't give a fuck about having all this material possession and oh well this will be worth some money someday. Like do I buy stuff? Do I collect fucking action figures? Do I, are Marvel Legends and whatever? Do I collect little die-cast figures? Yeah, those die-cast figures are like $5. See what I'm saying? Like I don't give a shit about having all this extra marital, extra material shit. I don't care, and I feel like a lot of people just don't fucking care because what's the point? Like it seems pointless. You don't take that with you when you die, bro. You don't take that with you when you die. So I mean, I don't know. That's the greediness. That's the greediness. That's why all these women are like, I need a man who makes 6 figures. I need a man who makes 6 figures. And now it's fucking people are saying 7 figures. I feel like this shit is so laughably goofy. Like I just tune it out, bro. Like as soon as I start hearing some of this shit, I'm like, okay, bro, I can tell you're dumb. Like, but that's why. And then some people go, oh, well, I have like a, which is what my two best friends were saying to me. Like, well, one of them is gay, so only one of them was saying this to me. But she was saying like, I feel like I have like a weariness, a cautiousness around men, and she was like, that's why it's hard for me to date because I could be paraphrasing. I don't want to put words in her mouth because I love this girl as my best friend, and I don't want her to sound like something she didn't say. But she did say something to the effect of, if I remember correctly, I am cautious around men. And I said, well, why? And she was like, well, you really don't know like what they're gonna do. You don't know what they're gonna do. And I was like, well, I don't know what any chick's gonna do. Like I said, I could go and knock something over. I knocked over my water bottle. I could go out and I could meet a chick and we could be, being nice, and then she could just fucking stab me in the neck. It's possible. It's fucking possible, but it's unlikely. You see what I'm saying to you? It's unlikely. Like it's possible. I mean, like, cause this is an old talking point apparently. In 2014, I was fucking 9, but I was watching a video and somebody was saying that Anita Sarkeesian, if you know who that is, I barely know who that is, but anyway, she was saying that Anita Sarkeesian was saying that it's impossible at the time. She was saying it was impossible for women to date for the possibility of men, graping or having their own way with the woman. And I was like, well, yeah, it's possible, but like that's not a reason to not date, right? At least in my opinion. This might be sound like a crazy take, but like I'm not saying you have to take that risk, but the risk of that happening is like generally low. That's like saying, well, I can't drive my car because somebody might just fucking drive into me and wreck it. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, there's an inherent risk to being alive, right? Like, that doesn't mean you can't fucking go outside because there might be microplastics in the air. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do make comparisons, and she does tell me that some of my comparisons are kind of wild, or analogies, I should say, are kind of wild. But like, I I feel like if you're very afraid to go out and date because of the prospect of a man doing that to you, I'm not going to say that's your fault, but I am going to say that if you're extremely like, oh shit, oh god, you probably have, I would say you have some type of phobia against like men of a certain size maybe, because I understand, dude. Like as a woman, if you were around a bunch of men that were much taller and larger and broader than you, That is a little scary if you don't know that person. Now, guess what? Most men, I'm saying this to like kind of ease that notion that being around these dudes are scary. Most men are like, honestly, from my perspective, I think we're like peacekeepers. We're not off-duty police officers, but if something were to happen, something where I need to take action, I am going to do something. Like if there like for example, God forbid, God forbid something like this happens. If if a woman comes up to me and she's like, "I need you to pretend to be my boyfriend," um, this guy he won't leave me alone. I'd be like, "Okay, what do you need me to do? Where are we going? Do you need me to like put my arm around you so it looks like we're walking together? Something like, what do you need me to do? Like, as long as you don't need me to do anything crazy, fine." I feel like most men are like that, and a lot of men are not predatory people. We're like the sheepdog. I've seen some movie. They said there are three types of people in the world. There are sheep, there are wolves, and there are sheepdogs. So you have the people who are, maybe like little babies, kids, women. Okay, let's be for real. Most women are not going to be able to defeat a male attacker. So we'll put them in the sheep for the analogy. And then you have, you know, your predators who are like the wolves. You have your criminals, your exploitives, your etc. You have those people, and then you have the sheepdogs. So you have the husbands, the boyfriends, the police, the military. It is their job to protect you. Most men are sheepdogs. Okay, where they go. If I am able to defend a person, I'm not gonna get myself killed. I really don't think so. But if I need to step in to defend a woman or children, or a woman and children from an assailant, I think I have to. It's like in my brain anyway, I have to. So for the idea of the, oh well, men scare me, I'm not saying they shouldn't, but you should talk to more people about that. If you're of that mindset that women are scary, you should talk to, friends and family, um, your coworkers if they're cool like that. Talk to them about that. You go, hey, well, I kind of think this sometimes. What do you think about this? And sorry about my cat, but I think that's about it. This was a longer video, but that is mostly those reasons I gave in the video are what I believe to be why dating is kind of the gap for dating is widening, where it's happening less frequently. But anyway, because like I said, I haven't been looking exactly, but I haven't had a girlfriend in over a year and a half or something like that. And I mean, it's whatever. I'm just working on me. I'm eating good food. I just ate Chinese last night, so I'm fucking chilling. Um, Working out, watching movies and shit, playing a little video games here and there, having some fun. But dating isn't everything. You should also remember that dating is not everything. If you don't have your own separate life, that's another thing. I'll put this in at the last minute because I just remembered it. If as a man, if the man and the woman don't have their own friends, that's gonna be bad because you basically are here with the one. So imagine two separate. This is the man and the woman's friendship outside of the dating pool. So if you're here with your woman, right, in the middle, and one of you doesn't have a friend group, like say I don't have my own friends, I need the woman, the guy anyway, will need the woman to entertain them because they don't have any external friendships or relationships to entertain their time without the girl. So sometimes the girl will want to go hang out with her friends, but she won't have anything. You'll be just SOL as the guy. where she'll be out doing something and you won't have anything to be out doing with your friends because you're like you have no friends in the example. And that goes both ways where if the girl has no friends, if the guy has no friends, the other one might go and meet their friends and the other person will be SOL. Um, so yeah, that is the last thing. Thank you for watching. Um, if you have any comments, put a comment. If you have nothing to say, whatever. Like it if you liked it. Thanks for watching.